This is the Cron 4 Morning News.
Henry?
And a man who has not once but twice interviewed the Dalai Lama. He has some fascinating insights on one of the most famous and one of the most beloved people in the world. That's coming up on Cron 4 News Weekend. Welcome back to Cron 4 News Weekend. The Dalai Lama, of course, much beloved, a man who has had endless praise heaped upon him. And there's always that question of, well, what is the man really like underneath? And I got to meet him once, like, for about a very short interview, and personally, I couldn't tell you in that short a time. Fortunately, we have with us Khashyar Darvich, who has created a film called Dalai Lama Renaissance. It's a documentary about the Dalai Lama and about a very special meeting that took place. Could you explain the circumstances of the meeting, please?
Sure. 40 of the world's innovative thinkers traveled to India to meet with him and speak about solving a few of the world's problems. But when they arrived, the unexpected happened. Their egos started to surface, things started to fall apart, and I don't want to say any more.
Yeah, okay.
The ending would be revealed in the film.
So it's hard to imagine that there's actually suspense in a film about the Dalai Lama, but somehow Khashyar has done it. Let's take a little look at the trailer, which kind of gives a pretty good setup for what the film is about. We're going to meditate until the trailer comes up any second now.
Yeah, it's good practice.
Hi, Marty and Isabel. There they are. Could you do the Dalai Lama?
We're going to meditate as well, waiting for the clip.
Well, while we're waiting for the clip, I say while we're waiting for the clip.
Want happiness, do not want suffering. From the birth, we have every right to have happy life. The very purpose of our life is happiness, joyfulness.
The Dalai Lama is considered the Buddha of compassion, and many believe that he reincarnates on Earth to help ease the suffering of the world. 40 of the world's most innovative thinkers were gathered to travel to India to meet with the Dalai Lama to solve many of the world's problems.
The seriousness that the Dalai Lama is taking this meeting, the sense that he feels this is important, as well as we feel it's important.
We all have our Tibets, and we recognize that the whole world is interwoven. Are we going to take care of all the problems of the people in the world, or are we going to make a plan for working on our own Tibets?
So I'm thinking 40 of the world's great thinkers. That's a tough setup. Bringing 40 great thinkers together is already an ego issue. Then you stick them on a plane for how many hours?
For 20 hours.
And then you stick them on a bus going through India for how many hours?
For 14 long hours.
Right.
On bumpy roads.
So this is a prescription for disaster, I would think.
I thought that they would, that it would go smoothly.
Yeah.
And India really brings out sort of the worst and best.
It's one of the most challenging places in the world. So you interviewed the Dalai Lama twice.
I did.
I don't even know where to start, but could you share some insight with it? Is he really that great?
You know, it's really interesting that he's the same when you speak with him one-on-one as he is in a stadium of 40,000. I mean, my experience with him. I mean, I interviewed him. I was sitting, 4 feet away, and the room really does. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but the room does really fill with a presence. I mean, a presence of compassion, of warmth.
But everybody's running around telling him what a great man he is. That would be a very difficult circumstance in which to maintain any degree of humility.
I think it would inflate anyone's ego. It would inflate my ego.
Me too.
But it's really interesting that he always says that he's a simple monk. He gets aches and pains. So it's really interesting, while everyone praises him, he stays humble. It's interesting.
The film is called Dalai Lama Renaissance, and it is now playing at the Roxy Film Center. which is on 16th Street in San Francisco. For information on showtimes, go to 415-863-1087. You can find more information at DalaiLamaFilm.com. And by the way, that was indeed Harrison Ford doing the narration on the film, which was quite a coup right away. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your film with us.
Real pleasure, Henry. Real pleasure.
Marty, back to you.
Thank you, Henry. On to World